Hello. Welcome to the April meeting of CB2's Land Use and Housing Committee. Today is April 15th. The time is 6:40 a.m., 6:40 p.m. Apologies. Apologies for the late start. We have two items on our agenda. And before we get started, if we could just have the committee members introduce themselves. I'll start with the committee members in the room. My name is Eugene Yu. I am chair of the Land Use and Housing Committee.
Katie Bordenaro, vice chair.
Victoria Fernandez, committee member.
Rodriguez Siegel, committee member.
Sean Sweeney, committee member.
Carter Booth, committee member.
Susan Wittenberg, committee member.
Anita Brandt, committee member.
And then online, on Zoom.
Stella Fitzgerald, committee member.
Great, thank you. Do we have anyone else from CB2 on? Arturo?
Not that I can see.
Okay, that's great. So we'll begin with the first item, which is 142 Green Street. This is a discussion of the Affordable Housing Plan application that has been submitted to the Department of Housing Preservation and Development by Green Street LLC. This is pertaining to the mandatory inclusionary housing fee in lieu of option. May I ask if the applicant is in the room or on the Zoom? If you're on the Zoom, please raise your hand using the raise hand function. Is there anyone on the attendee list that looks like the applicant?
142 Green Street.
Nobody's raising their hand.
Nobody's raising their hand. Okay. All right. Well, this was an application. It's informing us rather than based on any formal process where we need to provide a response. Mark, we're trying to see if the applicant 142 Green Street is attending or not.
I received nothing back from them. I did let them know that we were putting this on our agenda
Right.
some time ago.
Okay.
And never heard back again from them. They are not obligated to come. This is the correct agenda, by the way. Sorry about that. They're not obligated to come. Their only obligation is to notify us at the same time that they submit their papers to it's HPD, right? Yeah.
HPD, yes. Okay, well, we were expecting them to come.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It's a lot, their application is a lot to decipher.
Is it in here?
No, that's the other one.
Okay,
That,
Oh, little was 12.
okay. Let's get in touch with him again this month and see if they can get this
See if
one.
they'll come next month. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we really want, we want to understand what's going on.
I mean,
For the first.
there's no longer a deadline for them for a comment. They're not
Right.
looking for our comment.
right,
And charts and zoning.
Yeah.
They just
Okay.
are obligated to tell us.
okay. I think we need them, unless committee members feel otherwise.
We try to, like, I think we need to communicate that to them. They don't want to come when. I have a request for information. At least when we saw 43 Bleecker Street, a similar application, they came like very well prepared with the documentation in terms of how they set the in lieu fee. And I think that would have been just a good piece of information. They just gave us their architectural diagrams and no kind of way of how they calculated. Yeah.
Right,
Well, the issue is there were 3 joint live work order spaces there. And I'm not sure when they were vacated.
right,
Before the zoning went into effect or after. If it was before, then they might need us to apply for change of use. Might not be inherent because of the change of zoning. So I'd like to find out how they got rid of those 3 spaces and those 3 tenants.
okay, so we have open questions that they can only answer.
We never got
That's a
that answer.
Frederick,
We're doing a
Good
great
question,
job.
Sean, but if they were rental units and loft law units, they would have automatically have become housing units. They would have automatically become housing units because.
Right,
that's the
then they would-
determination.
Then they pay that conversion fee.
Well, no,
Once.
not if, no, the conversion fee is exempt for all
of the JLWQAs because they don't become JLWQAs. They become a residential unit
Right.
as a result, automatically, as a result of,
So there's no
The,
conversion?
there's no conversion because it's, the
It's a different category,
right, coming out of, because it's rent stabilized.
coming out of former IMD building, right?
So all former IMD buildings are exempt from the conversion fee.
Frederica,
So
Do we know this was an IMD?
well, if they were loft law units,
that were
Why
rent,
just say the word JLWQ?
okay,
if they were
I don't
rentals,
think there were, I don't know if there were rentals. Andre Belage lived there and he was certified artist, but.
right?
And so there were, and I'm sure he was, he might have been renting, I don't know. But he lived there for years with his family.
Okay.
So we,
Frederica?
status questions.
So just to, I'm a little rusty on this whole thing. I see that we're talking about this address for which we've seen the plans, turning into a single-family home of over 20,000 square feet, 23,000 square feet. So I thought that it had to be over 25,000 before it triggered affordable housing. Why are they having to, and when we say fee in lieu, that
Mhm.
means that they're paying into a fund to not build
Not build.
affordable.
To not build it on site,
I was
correct?
hoping somebody would come here, whether the applicant or somebody else,
Representative,
phoned up on the fee in lieu process.
how they calculated.
No, just explain it to us
Just the
again.
process.
Why are they even eligible?
Mhm.
It says for the mandatory inclusionary housing
I know, but I thought that.
does not apply.
Oh, it says it does not
not
apply?
apply.
And why are they, why?
Are they
I
exempt?
think that,
I mean, we shouldn't waste our time, but,
no, but yeah,
but I.
brought up, and it says
So
it
if
doesn't.
there's no process,
Mhm.
clock, then I think we should ask as a courtesy that they come back and explain
Oh,
the
yeah.
process.
Yes,
Could I suggest something?
Sure, Mark.
Along these lines and along what Carter was saying before, is that I'll be glad to reach out and try to restart this process. But it might make sense if we had a handful of questions like that and like what Carter was saying, to put in that, to say, would you please come and please be prepared to speak on X and Y and Z, as opposed to
Just come.
please come and let us yell at you because we,
No, we-
you know, whatever.
Yeah.
That might get a better response.
so Frederica, you're,
This is Valerie Campbell from Kramer 11, or
Oh, it
whatever
is?
they're calling themselves
Okay.
now. And they're the same folks who did the conversion, the land, remember, this was before the Landmarks Committee,
right,
I think last fall, because they're proposing to put because 20,000 square feet wasn't enough. So they're gonna put a rooftop addition and some rear yard infill into this building, which I believe has already gone through the Landmarks process.
Mhm.
And this is the same building and the same family that's moving in. It is multi-generational, so. Anyway, that would be helpful to me, and I think helpful to get the result we want.
okay.
So maybe just take a second to have, or give me a list of whatever it is you want me to put into that note, I'll be glad to do it. Thanks, sorry to interrupt.
So Frederica, your questions,
Well, my question is, could they please come and explain the MIH fee in lieu option and how it works?
okay, in general,
Take us through the process.
But it's a process they're using. That's why.
I also have someone asked, not just to explain it, but in this instance, how they are calculating the fee in this, at this particular site, because
Well, that
there
would
is,
be part of the process, but I think maybe Carter brought up the fact that I can remember in the past that there was always a question of how were the units, the residential units, what was the process to
This guy is.
vacate the?
yeah.
yeah,
When-
which is Sean's question, right?
That it was only.
yeah, when was the building,
So.
when was the
It's
building?
probably quite
vacate?
reliable.
Well, first, the three JLWK units, were they, was this a former IMD building?
no, I was looking at the law board history.
Mhm.
I haven't gotten it yet, but I was gonna actually look at this, how many units were in there. It's a little,
They were-
the BIS is moving slow,
Well, while it's moving,
not moving.
I it occurred to me, thinking about this meeting, that we haven't ever had the law board chair come back since she was first named. And maybe it's been 5 years.
It's been a long time.
It's at least that, because
It was before COVID.
Yeah. So I was wondering, is that a topic that doesn't interest us anymore, or would it be nice to hear what she's accomplished? Remember, she was needing to hire lawyers and they were updating their website, and
Well, actually, you know, we keep getting little things here and there, so it would be,
we asked her to come back.
Yeah. they're starting to pile up, you know what I mean? It's,
And Chuck Delaney, actually, we always feel is
yeah,
most informative, really, because he's not checking what they do. In a sense, he's our advocate. I just want to, going back to what you shared.
Chair, and we originally, when she was hired, we had a
I remember.
This is Andrew Berman's letter, and he says
Regarding
that this building once contained multiple jointly work quarters for artists, but these have been vacated by the time the 5-story building, 25,200 square feet, was purchased by the current developer in 2022 after the rezoning passed. So he doesn't say who the developers. No.
Well, I think this,
No, it's not.
got it pretty tightened up.
I mean, the question of how it was vacated is still operative, it seems.
They may not know. They bought it empty.
It's the
Well, they bought it empty.
it's the prior owner thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a question worth posing.
Yeah. And if,
Beautiful building.
or if,
I mean, the
or,
purpose of the rezoning was to increase housing. It looks like it's decreasing.
I know.
So I want to confirm that.
Well, if there's a gray area, it's gonna be interpreted.
It'll be in black and white.
No, it is. It's quite a building. I'm telling you.
It's so, in 2022, the building was sold for 39 million to an affiliate of WhatsApp co-founder Jan Koum.
now another question that I heard, make sure that this is, I've got it right. If or how does the Soho NoHo rezoning impact this building? That was a question that seemed to come up.
Here,
If or how does the NoHo rezoning impact this building particularly? That's a question I heard, is that still
Yeah,
good?
no, it does not appear that it was an IMG building. And as such, the questions that Sean raised are a good question.
Okay, but we'll confirm that whether it was or not. I mean, we should still ask. We think it isn't, but we'll ask them their impression.
No, that's right.
Well, judging from the
Arno, what's?
proposed building, it's not bigger.
A little bigger,
It's a little bit, but that's,
It's,
so I'm sure it's impacting it, but it's not a big. And, because it's basically new, I think. We must be
But-
cutting it.
but the question is, does it go over? Do the additions make it go over this, is it, what did you say, Frederica, that the 25,000 square foot?
25,000 might
Trigger?
not apply, but that's the number I remember.
But they're going,
About affordable house, the footprint.
but they're going over it.
It looks like Pete Davies has his hand raised. Maybe we could hear from Pete.
Yeah, it sounds.
He promotes the panelists or just allowed to talk?
Here it is, he's coming, or he's unmuted, but unmute Pete, there you go.
Very good. Thank you so much. There's a situation with the filings on this building. DOB now and DOB and what they've provided you with, the architectural plans, say two different things. The DOB now says for job number MO1208042, this project is a new building, not a conversion. That's in the CB2 plan that was given to you. However, DOB now, for the same job, the job description says conversion and enlargement of an existing mixed-use building. So on the one hand, they're saying, oh, no, it's not a conversion. On the other hand, they're saying it's precisely a conversion. So What that means? Not sure.
Converting it.
Brewer, when we were doing Soho NoHo, Gail Brewer told everybody the fee in lieu is something that's available, but nobody's ever used it. I've never heard of it being used. So the borough president's office would seem to have some knowledge, so I would suggest that CB2 inquire at the borough president's office about how this works.
Okay,
Our new borough president should have staff that covers all that. And then there, of course, is how they come up with the amount that they're going to pay. There's a lot of numbers included in the architectural plans that you have linked on the website. Charts and all sorts of square footage here, there, and everywhere. But it doesn't really explain, other than saying, we are going to use the fee in lieu program. It's available and we're going to use it. That's stated on the architectural plans. So just based on the information you've been provided, there are a number of questions that if this applicant wants to come and speak with you, which pretty much the indication is they don't want to come and speak to us. They were given an opportunity and they don't have to, and they didn't show up. So I don't think we should just roll over on that. And anything you can do to find out what's going on here, because we're going to have more of these coming to us. And they're setting some sort of a precedent. This is the first, other than 43 Bleecker, which doesn't seem to have moved. This does now seem to be the first use of fee in lieu for affordable housing in New York City. So thanks a lot, and thanks for the attention to this. It's important.
Thank you, Pete, for the additional information and color.
And I just want to say this, historically, there's
Yes.
also some issues here. When it got its first C of O, so Chuck Delaney wrote in one of the law court orders that was eventually withdrawn. And they were concerned about how it got the JLWQA C of O because it was larger than 5,000 square feet.
Oh, each unit?
I don't know if this was in the M15A. Is
Mhm.
that
Hey,
yeah, so they said that it was an oversized building.
what year is it?
It may have been improperly issued and he felt that it wasn't fair, even though they didn't go back and change anything, but there's just a history in the building of maybe the rules not being applied properly. And that was Chuck's concern at that point. Why did some buildings get?
So what year is it?
That was in the 80s. But this is from a law court order from
1980.
1983.
So the question is, was the JLQW properly,
It was issued and it's done, right? But
was issued?
they felt that DOB may have bent some of the rules and that it was
It's oversized.
inconsistently applied across some of the buildings. And at that time, if I remember correctly, not that I was there, but from reading other things, the issue was some buildings were denied the ability to convert to JLWQA that were over 5,000 square feet in the M15A. And so people had to leave the buildings. They weren't able to actually live in them. In the smaller buildings they were. So that was the concern at that time.
Okay, so, thank you, Carter. That's another question on the table,
But it's not a question. I mean, it was resolved, but it's just part of the patina of
the background then.
Yeah.
Okay,
Speaking of Pete Davis, he brought up, I think it was Pete, there's a requirement for retail on the ground floor. And then maybe, but they're gonna plan to put that.
They're not putting retail, are they?
on-
Does this have retail on the ground floor?
I don't know if residents,
It's just all residents.
residents is allowed on the ground floor.
I think,
So our residence is allowed on ground floor?
But the point is, instead of having
Our
pricing?
district, yeah.
an equivalent size retail space, it's gonna be a little pop-up, not a pop-up, but a little cubicle kind of thing, just to fulfill the obligation to have retail on the ground floor.
So is the question, are residences allowed on the ground floor? Is that the question? Are residences allowed on the ground floor?
Yeah, and how are they going to address what's going to be the commercial use on the ground floor?
Okay.
Or the size of the commercial space too? I mean, they can make it small, but it's just indicative if they do.
Well, they're keeping the glazing, which is probably the big part of it. Storefront keeps all the glazing at the storefront.
Okay.
So this is,
And yeah, it's like, it looks like 3 stories, 2 plus the cabin on top.
3?
2, but it reads like 3 on the renderings. But here's our building.
Yeah.
And we have 2 and then the mechanical.
Okay.
Was any of that, do you think, presented to landmarks when any, was
It
anything
would
about?
have to be.
Yeah, so we can might look
It
at
looks
that.
pretty visible, actually. I don't
Okay.
know if it is, but I don't think we've seen it, but I could have missed it.
Okay. Okay.
Do we have any other questions for the applicant that we can put forward to them?
Any from the public behind us that we got to?
Are there any questions from the public? Can't see.
No,
No?
I looked, that, no.
Online? Any questions from the public online? Laura,
Okay.
can we raise Laura to participant, Arturo?
yes, sorry. Got it. Hi, Laura, you can talk.
Hi, very quickly, I just was thinking that perhaps if you can't get this information from the applicant, it would be great if we could do a FOIA or something along those lines. In terms of the fees or something a little, I'm particularly concerned about the fee schedule that's applied because it's a moving fee. And unless they're given the highest fee possible, per square foot, something's wrong. It should be in the millions.
Yes.
I'm curious what it's going to be. Thank you. Yeah.
So, Frederica and I were talking and looking at that residential square footage of 23,880. And assuming they used option 1 of the MIH, which is what they have here under item 8, multiplied by the $1,130 per square foot, that's like $6.8 million.
No, you're just using a portion.
And
By the entire building by 1130.
No, it's like the square footage that would have been generated by the affordable housing, which is 25% by option 1.
Okay, so it's 7.5.
Yeah.
So how much is it?
About 6.8
7
million.
million.
Yeah, 7.
and that's depending on, but the scale starts at like $400, right? So how do you come up with do you know that they're applying the highest?
Because our district is rated the highest, 1100.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
At least that's some comfort that somewhere they'll be getting that.
But it
Right.
doesn't seem like enough.
It doesn't, does it?
Oh,
Thank you. That was the only thing, I had to say. I think Pete covered much of what I'd been concerned about, and I know you guys are too, but given that the applicant is not here, not much we can do beyond that.
well, we certainly have a lot of questions, Laura, so that's good. Thank you for helping.
Oh, yeah, it's active now.
An optical illusion, except that.
Can you pass the
Yes.
draft around of that questionnaire that we're sending?
Yeah, we can circulate the
Usually do
questions.
this
Yeah,
question.
yeah, I hope that you'll
Yeah.
chime in, yeah.
I mean, I have 4 questions.
I have more than
More than that.
yeah. you know, I'll figure out if they're duplicative.
Okay,
I mean, I think we should sound very collegial and collaborative. They don't have to do this,
right.
right? So let's just make it a friendly inquiry that we'd like to learn more about it because we're going to be seeing more.
Right, they're the first.
Not an interrogation.
And I think we want to know what steps they went through. How did they get here? And just in the basics,
The educators.
outline, not down and dirty.
CC the Department of Buildings, maybe? Since they would give any kind of permit change.
And the borough president at your suggestion. I think, no, Pete was said, the borough president, yeah.
Maybe it has been.
Anita, when you said,
It's different, yeah.
Anita, when
Sorry.
you said, enumerate the steps, did you mean the steps of the calculation? Or did you mean other steps as well?
Not zoning
The
Okay,
process.
and how much additional square feet and the use. I think we have to just clarify what if there's any use change. And
and the fee calculation.
the fee, yeah. I mean,
The fee cal-
Well, that building should have had commercial on the ground floor, no?
I don't know, let's ask them.
Because time was we used to see when they wanted commercial on the ground floor.
Everything's empty now, though.
Yeah, I know.
Let's be adaptable.
It's just a rumor, but we should check
Come
it
to
out.
that. Maybe to have people in them.
So is there another question that we
Just
just,
clarify the ground floor use.
okay,
Yeah, if I put the address in maps, it looks, there's two commercial businesses that pop up that presumably were there. Past.
Oh, yeah, but they want to make changes.
Right.
I doubt they want, it says here, the floor plans show that there will be separate residential, commercial entrances on Green Street.
Okay,
So they'll be commercial?
Ground floor, but I think it has the option. I don't know that it said it has. It could have.
right. I think Sean said something like a pop-up, right?
Pardon me?
So something
That's
of
the wrong word. I meant just
a small space,
Yeah, shack.
commercial space.
It's not a shack, but not the full length. It was just a rumor, but we should ask if that's
So this is
correct.
reminding me, over on Perry Street,
Mhm.
Stephen A. Cohen, the hedge fund guy,
oh, yes,
he built a 30,000 square foot house. It has another building attached to his children.
Yeah.
And that does
They're
not have,
paying, yeah.
obviously that doesn't have.
Right,
It's such an unwelcoming, it seems like such a commercial facade when you go by there.
no one lives there,
Really a blight.
no one lives
Like a
there,
museum.
but we're going to put rumor, again, Sean, neighborhood rumor on the west side, a neighborhood rumor, they were going to put an art gallery in the separate building where the children would have lofts above, so that was going to be a little commercial, but it was rumor, no one's lived in any space.
It's hard to get information, I mean, before 1980s, it was commercial, but then 80s was Leo Costelli, so I'm not getting anything in any detail before 1980.
I mean, it seems like the district should be zoned for mixed use, period,
Mhm.
commercial. However, if they're filing for a variance to make it residential, that might be
that's a
something.
change of use.
Yeah. So it's just, they need to clarify it because it's sort of like what it could be, but what is it gonna actually be? And also, I think we should be open-minded when it comes to ground floor use.
Yeah.
Because something is better than nothing.
We don't have any say anyways.
Pardon?
We don't have any say.
It's sort of a dead area for what, like, they think, I'm just doing AI research, genuine can, but it probably was storage when they started losing the light manufacturing. I mean, then they were just ground floors, low rent storage or loading docks, so the remaining industrial occupants. Probably why we're not getting the name of companies Were there before the galleries. That's why the galleries moved in.
Okay, well, and we need to fill up our
Yeah.
spaces, so you think the house is big enough, but it could be bigger. And there is never enough light in these buildings, so that front is a very important, valuable to have all those windows.
Okay. All right, so we will lay this over, reach out to the applicant, we'll circulate the questions to the committee and see if they are willing to come to the May land use meeting and discuss.
Right.
Great.
What is as of right and what are they asking for extra
I
too?
don't think they're asking anything from us. It's simply a
Seems like it.
FYI.
We don't take offense. It's okay.
That's what the
We'll
current
still
rules
speak
are.
up. We'll still do it.
Okay. All right, so the next item, 51 Little West 12th Street. This is consideration of the applicant's revised submissions to the BSA in connection with its original request for zoning variance pursuant to 7221. I hope the committee was able to look through the documents that the applicant provided for this revision. I think it may be helpful for us to kind of put down exactly what's changed and then compare that to our existing resolution. See if our existing resolution still stands or if there are enough changes that we feel we should issue a new resolution to cover any changes that are no longer relevant or any new issues that have come up. So I'll begin. I mean, one of the first things that they offered is they're reducing the height of the building from 10 stories to 9. And I believe they used to have 2 mechanical voids, and they're reducing that to 1 mechanical void. So overall, the building is slightly smaller. So 10 to 9, yep.
Looks, in our reso last September, the building is 176 feet tall.
Yep.
And 14 stories. But in the document that I found the most helpful was the letter from Nobel to the DSA about what the things are that they did. And it
Sure.
looks like they had an intermediary drop from 176 down to 133, 10 stories, and then the ultimate is 9 stories and 124 feet. So if you go from the start, that's very significant. 125% smaller.
I just want to point out that as of right building in the papers is 97 feet. So even though it's a significant drop, it's much bigger than an as of right building would be on that lot.
Much or
Right.
somewhat?
Well, 97,
97 to 124.
So that's,
Yeah.
that's about 25%.
but it's still 25% bigger than the other.
The letter from Urban Cartographics also is very specific about responding to questions
Mm-hmm.
from the committee and from the community.
On the BSA.
Response to specific issues raised.
Well, the building is 131 feet, including the elevated bulkhead, so it's still pretty tall. And then there were 2 20-foot stories. Anita. 2.
To what?
2 stories of 20 feet each.
Mechanical voids.
The first floor is 20 feet. And actually, it only has to be 13 feet, I think, according to the flooding rules after Sandy. And then there's another one, 20 feet, but there's no explanation. Zach Weinstein looked over everything, couldn't be here tonight, but he is going to testify again at the BSA about it, and he looked at everything pretty closely today too. So these are some things that he pointed out, which are good. No,
So in the proposed site conditions on the facts and findings, it says, commercial use on the first 2 floors and residential above. And then it goes on to say, the first floor would contain a lobby, residential lobby and restaurant space. The second floor would contain an electrical room, fire pump, boiler, bicycle parking. And the third floor would contain restaurant space. That's 3 floors that they're itemizing.
Mhm.
So I don't understand why they say it's gonna be 2 floors.
2 floors of what?
The applicant proposes a
Oh,
variance in
commercial.
order to permit a mixed-use building with a commercial use on the first 2 floors and residential use above. And then it describes 3 floors. not
You're
2.
right, you're right, you're right.
And it says, the third floor would contain restaurant space and provide a 20-foot rear yard. Upper floor dwelling units would each contain 2-bedroom units and a 30-foot residential yard. I guess that means the building sets back in the back.
Where are you pulling
At the
from?
bottom of page 2 of the revised
From
facts and
Yeah,
findings.
22.
That's the front.
And just an aside,
You don't see the back.
No, I don't.
a
think they show
2-bedroom
the back.
apartment, that's a total of 875 square feet is
So I think,
small, yeah.
I think that second floor is what they're calling that mechanical void.
Yes, I think so too.
So that second floor where they talk about the electrical room, a fire pump room, a boiler room, and bicycle parking, that's the 20-foot tall mechanical void floor.
That's where
It's
it's
technically
required
not-
to be though. It has to be above the second floor.
Right, because of the flood requirements. It
But
doesn't
it's
have to be,
not
it doesn't have to be
commercial.
20 feet tall, but
No, it doesn't.
And it's not
There's
commercial.
one way to get the
It's
whole
not
building up. taller.
commercial.
I would say
It's not a commercial
minimize it.
use.
That's what we want.
So then the restaurant is above that.
Yeah,
the restaurant is above. So they split the commercial,
Those are the.
right, they split the commercial into 1 and 3.
yeah. They put on,
Quite high, 4.
Right, well, they're making the whole building much taller.
I mean, we just can't, don't we care about the ultimate height, not the.
We do care about the ultimate height. You actually mentioned that the original height was
174 in our.
74, then
76 in our resident.
why is it that they're in their cover letter, they talk about the original being 133 feet?
I'm saying maybe they dropped it down in the course since last September and wasn't documented to us because they were dealing with BSA.
Okay, all right,
That makes sense.
yeah, so at one point it was 100,
And 14 stories
okay.
and 18,000 square feet. Now it's like 12,000 square feet, so it's dropped by, you know, how do you like to calculate these things, either a half or a third.
a third.
Yeah, and the FAR went from 4.89 to 4.41. And what's the max FAR that they could have
5?
used? It's 5, right?
Yeah, I think so.
The M15 zone. But in their own architectural plans, they say an as-of-right building should be 97 feet. So, yeah. Their own architectural.
But it's not as of right. They're going to-
No, but they have to compare. They have to, reveal it.
Okay. There's also the amended economic analysis that they've provided, which still has some issues. You want to go through,
Well,
Katie? I know you had some comments on that.
the economic analysis talks about the revenue from a restaurant plus office, or a restaurant plus residential. And then they have all of these restaurant comparables, which were pointed out. I pointed them out, Zach pointed them out to me, and then I testified about them. personally at the VSA. Valerie testified for the board, and I was testifying as a neighborhood person. So they have 5 restaurants. I don't know if you can see, I forget what page it's on, but it's in here. So they have,
Document is that in?
this is in the
Economic analysis?
economic
Is
analysis.
that
So
printed in
that's
this one?
EAS revised.
This is the revised one. Well, this is the one that they sent as revised.
Are you commenting on the rate, the rent that they're gonna get?
Well, the economic analysis on page 6 talks about the project value and profit summary. And it
This is
includes,
Barbara J. Cohen's document.
right, right,
What page?
Barbara J. Cohen, 8-6. So on
6?
page 6, it shows as of right, the, cost, value, profit loss, annual return of a restaurant plus commercial and a restaurant plus residential. But then, when they go to do the restaurant, they don't, they're not, they don't have, the restaurants that they're using aren't real.
Exhibit 2, that one?
I'm trying to get.
What page, Katie?
21, I think.
On the gallery.
I mean, I remember that.
No, not 21, not 21, page 26. Page 26, they have 5 restaurants that they're using to calculate into this profit loss on page 6. 823 Washington Street, number 1. That is a beauty spa, Claude Lee, that has a liquor license. We gave it to them so that they can serve people a glass of champagne while they're having a spa treatment. 248 West 14th Street is a karaoke bar, not a restaurant.
We're looking at this stuff.
245 West 14th Street, number 3, is a cannabis dispensary, not a restaurant.
245?
245. It's on the other, it's in Chelsea, on the other side of the street. 77th Avenue is also in Chelsea. It's, and it's not, it doesn't exist anymore. There's no business there. And 301 West 13th Street is a hairdresser that's never been an eating and drinking establishment.
All right, but
Research.
are you concerned that they'll get more rent and so they won't have the minimum return?
Yes.
Is that your concern?
Yes, because, they're not looking at these things don't exist. We need them to price out a restaurant that's on a small side street.
A viable comp.
Yeah, something similar.
You're saying the comps are lower.
They're probably
Well,
depressed.
Okay.
But I mean, it's like Crew Eyewear, if I remember correctly, they have a liquor license. They're much closer, right? And why isn't that a comp?
Yes, yes,
As
Donna
opposed to
pointed.
these businesses, and I don't think that's a particularly big square foot. I'm just going by memory. I'm not looking some of the different places that we've heard through time
Yes,
that are,
I mean, I don't know if it impacts the figures on page 6, but this isn't very good work.
It would be, I think, enough to just point that out to BSA, because some of these findings are within our purview to understand and opine on, and
Right.
others of them are above our pay grade. There's
But
two.
liquor licenses aren't above our pay grade.
I also, my concern with, respectfully, Katie, that criticism is like, is this kind of a chicken or egg thing? Would we expect to see restaurants in these tiny lots and maybe that's why they don't exist? Because the fact that you have a mix of bars and other commercial retail, I don't know what that would mean for whether that would make it a higher priced real
Some of
estate
the most
or
expensive restaurants in our
or
neighborhood
a
are.
disincentive
restaurants.
for smaller square footage
Or
or very
Charles.
narrow.
Yeah, I mean,
Restaurants.
we have some, they're comparable restaurants. This is ridiculous, that if that's their restaurant comps, there's so many restaurants in that size within 4 blocks.
Yeah.
So many,
That's not an unusual.
so many.
Yes.
And I mean, you look at Hudson Street, there's so many other smaller places that on so many, I mean,
I can't think of any, that's why I'm just,
But I don't want to, I don't think we have to get hung up on this because whether they're a restaurant or a beauty salon with glasses of champagne, those tenants are paying top dollar to be in the meatpacking.
Right.
And so it doesn't matter what the use is, it's a space that's expensive, right? I feel that this is nitpicking. And I feel that
Well, that's one of the categories.
here we are
Right.
in a neighborhood that is definitely evolving. And we have an opportunity to influence the way it evolves and to create more housing. And we should be focusing on that rather than on things like minimal rate and
What's the ultimate impact if the,
minimal variance and
this,
reasonable rate of return.
this is the storefront. They're using it as a comp on the address. That's 301 West 13th Street.
That's a very expensive location.
No, it's a dumpy looking location
It's
and you're
still
putting
gets
this,
top
you're
dollar.
building a brand new building.
that by the.
But that's the smallest.
Right, that's
the
not
area.
Pizza shop, yeah.
Yeah, I mean.
They're gonna get a brand name chef who's gonna, it's
But
gonna be
but the
very
other
expensive.
thing is,
But it could be an omakase, sushi place with 500 square feet, and then you have a super expensive restaurant, so.
right, the size doesn't.
Sorry, yeah, and just as in our community, we have so many variations of food use, and they use some of the smallest spaces.
Right.
And they command some of the most premium prices. So I
correct.
think that putting in, as Katie's pointing out, these anomalies, and they're not real uses, they're hybrid uses, and they're not reflecting that's an accessory use that many of those businesses have, not the primary use. And so I think it's important if you're gonna use a comp, that it's a straight comp.
right, but I don't think we should get involved in the guy's business plan. I feel that this whole
But they're giving the information.
is tuned by the size of the apartments. And I feel that he's not a business person and he's not getting great advice.
You say it's
But that's-
doomed by the size of the apartment? Because they're
Yes,
small.
personally.
So without the variance, he can't do anything, you're saying.
Well, it's not up to us to make sure everybody makes money. To me, it's like, how tall do we want the building to be? And do we want it to be commercial or residential? That to me are the two most important things.
So you're saying if he had said they were one-bedroom apartments at 850
No, I
square?
don't want to get involved in
Yeah,
his
so I'm just
business
trying to see
plan.
why you think it's doomed, because their
Because
apartments are small.
I was so unimpressed with him.
Okay.
All right, he's an artist, and his passion was laudable, but it didn't.
Yeah.
It didn't take the place of good business sense.
I understand. I guess for me, the thing is, I didn't see, or maybe it wasn't clear enough, why they didn't go to the hotel room. It wasn't explained clearly enough why that was not profitable. I'm sort of agreeing with you. I thought that seemed like a good use. That seems so profitable. Why is he against that?
Well, it's not as of right anymore. Yes, that did come up in the BSA. It's not as of right anymore.
I see.
The other thing is that the as of right use here is very viable.
That's why if the restaurant were better priced,
Commercial
yeah.
offices.
And that's, and that's what the whole point of this is, right?
Meeting the
That
five
it's-
findings.
That it's not viable, and
You say commercial is more viable?
office space, yeah, premium,
But
single,
maybe there's different, this is where I think we're over our heads a little, but maybe there's more requirements for more common space, maybe the mechanicals take up more space, maybe this is the least impactful way to get the use into the building. Maybe hotels require more wasted space.
But it's not as of right. So
I don't know.
It's not as of,
of right, doesn't
Even if
matter.
it's not as of right, it would be an easier sell because there's another hotel right next door.
yes, it used to be as of
For a
I
long
right.
just wish
time.
we would, I wish we would focus on what we want that neighborhood to look like, because we have the Enzifer Square Place building, right? It's residential use, we have this that's residential.
Which is not built yet.
But,
Right,
yeah,
but-
but we're supposed to focus on the five findings, which is what the BSA is. Now, we don't have to say anything because this is a third meeting, you know, saying something is optional, it's not required. We've already said we don't like it. I do know that Zach is going to focus on the he's already focused, we're gonna focus more heavily on the finding that it's a self-inflicted hardship, which is one of the 5 things, because the guy, admittedly, he said it, he said he didn't really pursue with the hotel when he says they destroyed his property, but he didn't have an agreement with them and he didn't sue them afterwards, so.
And the building.
That hasn't changed with the application.
And had many violations on it.
Right, didn't he have a vacate order on the other?
Yes, yes, yes,
Okay.
yes,
And that's,
yes.
the other thing too is, remember, we would rather see, if this area is going to have housing, that it be properly rezoned so that there is proper housing on the right scale with the amount of units, et cetera, as opposed to, you know, different one-offs which don't really meet to serve the needs of providing more housing in New York City.
There is.
And you're left with these strange buildings, you know, that don't really help in the broader context.
And none of the analysis about the services needed. Now, there are not going to be that many residents here, but none of the analysis of the services needed are performed when there's a variance. When there's a rezoning, then you get, you know, transportation, schools, parks. But this is just, okay, we're going to stick some people here, but we don't know if they're going to have what they need to thrive.
The height of it has dropped to tolerable, in my opinion. A tolerable height fits in much better. Anything that it has the advantage of being so much shorter than the standard, right? We should be, in my opinion, we should be in favor of housing.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But you were saying that you thought it was a failure because.
That's not our job.
We don't have to judge
whether
that.
he makes money or not.
Yeah.
Right. I just, if the building is empty, at least it's the right size building.
I also applaud him for actually trying to, you know, address some of the height concerns, address some of the aesthetic concerns. I think those were good effort changes.
But he still has to meet the 5 findings.
Yeah, that's the point.
That's up to those are the BSA's 5 findings.
Yes.
Okay?
Well, that's what we're,
Right?
that's what I
So
think
let's
we should.
focus on the ones that are really important. to
I
us.
think from the city life point of view, the first 3 floors is 50 feet. There's a problem there because you haven't related to the street. It's not good to put things up on a pedestal, a blank pedestal.
Rest Monkey is right there, and it also has 3 stories of bar and drinking and dining activities.
Yeah, but not mechanical. This is all like shut down. The first floor doesn't need to be. Again, I would say have more eyes on the street, bring down whatever it is, because I don't think mechanical rooms. You know, it's the security. That's how security is created in the city. Is
But
people
it's-
have eyes on it.
Is the lot 25 feet wide?
25
Because
feet
it's
wide.
gonna have a lobby for the residents, and it's gonna have a restaurant that's on that ground floor, and it doesn't make a lot of sense. He's got part of his restaurant at grade, and then he's got the other part of the restaurant on the other side of Boyd.
But we're not talking,
Upstairs,
but we're
yeah.
talking about the height.
I thought he also wanted a
But-
gallery. I thought there was a gallery.
That seems to be a
Yeah,
gone.
lobby
I don't
and a
see that in the
restaurant.
plans.
I don't, 20 feet is high. I'm just saying, the dimensions are
Off.
super
Scale.
size.
Well, so let's comment on that. That sounds good. Let's comment on that.
Yeah, that's what, exactly, because that's something that affects our neighborhood, it affects how.
How it integrates with the space.
Absolutely, and we really always want to encourage interaction with the street, because so much of what we're seeing is completely turning their back to
We come
Segregated,
we come into
segregated,
that
yeah.
on Ray Jones with that wall that, you know, that people weren't
Yeah.
accepting.
exactly. Also, I don't know what happened to the sky.
What
It's
happened
almost
to,
as if that disappeared in our new zoning.
Oh, yeah.
We used to have a sky plane where you had to step back
And like,
I mean, they figured it out a long time ago, 1930s, from the Equitable Building, and now we're getting this like 20-story straight up building right on the sidewalk.
yeah.
So we need to,
What's wrong?
the
You look
first
so
floor,
confused. What's wrong?
What are you saying about sky plane? It's not.
There's no sky plane shown on the. I'm just bringing up that we want to let light and air into our streets and not just keep going taller and taller and isolated.
Without a step back.
Yeah, well, it's this basic, I don't know what happened to it. It's like somebody just erased it. Maybe it became a casualty of a typo. I don't know.
okay, so are you saying that the first floor is 20 feet high and the
Second.
void and mechanical is 20 feet high?
Yep, and
They're
then
both
the,
the same,
yes,
they're both the same.
20 stories, and then there's a, something in between, a 10-story
No,
second.
that's what I'm asking. What's in between?
Oh, the
first
mechanical,
floor
and then the restaurant is 20. It's,
No, there's a floor in between. Let me go back to the.
That's the
drawing.
mechanical void that you're talking
The
about.
two.
The
The
mechanical is
mechanical is
20.
20 feet.
I thought mechanical is 20, right?
And the ground floor is 20 feet, and there's a floor in between, that's 10 feet. So
So then that's where the second part of the restaurant goes, not above the board.
whatever.
This is very confusing, the way they describe it.
I don't know where the elevation.
Yeah, and the text is confusing.
Yeah.
Well, it's not confusing in the drawings at all.
Okay.
well, you're expert at it.
Not at all. Let me just go here, I'll just read it to you. I'm on page
Page 8.
Mechanical and bike storage on the second floor.
elevation. No, I'm on the elevations. The first ground floor.
8.
Oh, hold on, let me see. Is that 8?
Yeah, page 8.
Okay, 8. So, all the way over on the left, south front elevation. It says it's 20 stories,
Not stories.
feet, sorry. And then 10 feet, which I don't even see where I guess it starts in the back. So you're gonna have a 30-foot high lobby. And then another 20 feet for mechanical, which is not a inhabited space. I don't know why it has to be 20 feet either. I know that's the maximum
There's 6 floors of residential.
On top.
on top, but that's far, far away.
And it's a 9-story building, so there's 3 stories.
Yeah.
For non-residential. And you're saying it's 20, 10,
20, 10 setback. So actually on the street, it's 30 feet high at the entrance.
Before you get to the residential.
No, but then you get to the mechanical.
Can you just turn what you're looking at?
Yes,
So I can
yes.
get the right view.
Yeah,
wanna be-
I don't see the elevation.
Okay, here we go.
Oh, you went down. This is further down.
Well, this is the ground floor, right? You see the shading? That's 30 feet. The
Okay.
second floor
14.
is mezzanine,
The back,
if you
it's like the
will,
second
step
floor.
back, so it doesn't touch to the front.
that's a 10-foot mezzanine.
Yes, a mezzanine, a partial floor. And then on top of that is a 20-foot high.
You're not going to be able to.
Mechanical.
Here, do you want me to show it? I can share it with you.
All right, so 20 feet in mechanical, why
So,
do they?
Here's the first floor.
To get the apartments higher.
Here's the second
No,
floor,
to get
10.
It's
And then the third floor is 20.
I
So
understand
20,
we get it.
20 through the third.
I know.
No, I know, but we're not accepting that.
That's right here.
That's- Also, it's,
Oh, there's the
it's not just, it's the building,
It could be 10
it's
feet.
bad for the.
I think it is. I'm just zoomed in.
What makes our neighborhood
yeah.
worth living in is that it has, people are connected to the street.
It negatively.
Oh, I see, and then there's
You
this
know,
crazy.
There's not a tower that,
Like, I didn't hear a thing.
This is like a gap, but it is the mechanical floor.
Where's the bike room? The text does not align with the picture.
But Anita's explained it.
But please re-explain, because I was getting to the right page. So I see 1, 2, 3, I mean,
Why are you looking at that drawing? Look at this one, wherever is this a different page?
It's just, I think you're zoomed in and she has.
Oh, yeah, mine, I definitely am zoomed in. A200.
oh, I'm on A300. Okay, I know.
All right.
Yeah, A200, yeah,
all the
0.00.
way to the left. The shaded area, as you can see, it goes from first floor to second floor. Second floor is setbacks. Second floor is 10 feet floor to floor. And then we have our beautiful 20-foot.
It didn't reproduce very well on the paper, that's an issue.
Well, it is what it is. I mean, I don't think,
That's
It's back.
You have to zoom
200,
in
you'll
on
get
the PDF.
well, it's
It's,
math.
yeah, yeah.
It's just math.
301 is better.
And that's very unusual to have a little lobby. I mean, again, I try to bring the ceiling down in some of these Soho places.
Yeah, but
They're like a
Oh,
telephone.
one more
Yeah,
page.
here's the other.
Yeah, this isn't
Yeah, and
necessarily better. You know what I mean? It's super size.
so it's a lot of space before we get to anything.
Well, let's just comment on it.
Just say we want it lowered down,
That's the
period.
point she's making.
Minimized.
Okay.
Bring it down to earth.
And I would say also to improve the building's relationship, the people's relationship to the community around it. We really don't want to get people further and further away with their backs turned. That's not good for us. Something we
I
want
know
to
there should be a minimal variance anyway, just
yeah. There's certainly these heights. 50 feet, I mean,
Before you
that's
get to
what,
it.
Right.
that's what most of our neighborhoods are.
I know,
50 feet,
yeah.
they're not even,
Yeah.
My building is 50 feet with 8 apartments.
that's it, so, I mean, that is the whole building
living above, on top of your building. And
Crazy.
that's the way to think of it.
with a blank, again, I think it's the
Yeah,
blank
the base
that's
is-
concerning.
I like that word. The base is blank. You know,
Yeah.
the base presents a blank face
I
too.
also wonder why they do have that third floor restaurant space as opposed to just making that housing.
If you
I
look
believe it's
here,
in- Isn't there an open
part of it
space?
is so that it can see the High Line.
Yeah, isn't part of it open
Is one
to,
penny.
To see the High Line.
isn't part of it open to
It
outside?
was, but
Did they close it off?
No, they wanna make money.
The BSA.
Probably a good thing. I don't mind.
The BSA said that's ridiculous.
Right, right.
What
So
is
they,
that
so they
zigzag?
enclosed it.
Yeah.
Thing on the
But-
side. I saw that somewhere
They
else.
want it so that
recently.
you can see the High Line.
Anybody, who, you were at the meeting, what did BSA say?
Well, they told them to get rid of the funny arrow on top.
Yeah,
That
I
was
don't
like,
like that either.
the chair said, get rid of that.
It's a lot better.
The chair,
I can just listen to.
the chair also said, you know, to stop with the subsoil conditions and all of that. Those things are not unique here. Lower the building, lower the building.
Is it summarized in this letter?
I don't know if it's totally summarized, you know, because I don't think that, I
But
don't,
that's a letter from them. I'm just asking Katie, who was there.
I didn't bring my notes, but I think, you know, I think that one thing that they haven't really come to grips with, that Zach has really pound on, is this self-inflicted hardship or not.
Right.
And, you know, and that might help us get down lower. The BSA has to follow its
But the
rules.
self-inflicted hardship hasn't changed from that application to this one.
No, but it hasn't, but I think it's the way to get rid of that base.
So you weren't clear whether they
I think
agreed
neighborhood
about the
context.
hardship?
Yeah, I think
How does that?
Because it's just the way that they're working, you know, what they're listening to. Because it's one of
Because
the,
everybody does it, really. I think it's just
Well,
the
he
way
had a
they bore.
he had a vacate order, you know, it's a very crazy history to this building.
And that predated,
That's fine.
and that predated, I mean, if you go look at all the violations that were on the site, they predate the issues where the building had to come down.
Yes.
That's,
Okay, so I think there were all those issues with the building because he doesn't have the money to fix them. And if you recall, the first time he came, he didn't want to even have, I don't think he wanted to have an architect. He wanted us to approve his drawing of the building. So
I forgot about that.
somewhere in there, I think Zach mentioned, is there some, and he's entitled to have a developer that's working with him.
But we not,
Some deep pockets person,
someone's,
but he
someone's,
certainly hasn't told us about it. And that's not really our
But the-
purview,
no, and it's not part of it. It's,
but it is kind of a fun fact.
yeah, no, it is, but I don't think that we can, anyone is going to unravel that question. You know, no one's going to answer it.
It's where all the mechanical is, the 10-story.
No.
This is the second floor. It's got all the mechanical.
Where's the
So what's in the
It's, it's this
The
word,
restaurant.
yeah, it's this part
With
right
the
here.
20-foot high ceiling, those are.
'Cause and this
That's
is-
And it's
view of the
above
And then
the
this-
High Line.
20.
What's its, so you have a view of the High Line.
I mean, I think it could be more
Well,
welcoming.
squeeze it down, everything on the
Have
diet.
Well, we don't know if
Coming
there's
down.
a restaurant.
It's too high.
In the law, right.
2 feet.
So, you know, I don't think that the BSA is opposed to the housing aspect. I think they just want them to do it, you know, in a way that the BSA could stand behind it.
Does it warrant a variance, right?
Sorry,
I mean, does it warrant, these are all not, there's nothing here that's unique. It just seems that he's told us from the beginning he has some vision, right?
right,
And that's the basis for all this, is just this vision. It's not,
Titanic.
yeah, you know, it's not that can he do something that's as of right and it works. I mean, at the end of the day, that's all it is. And the reality is that there's plenty of desirable, you know, occupancies in an as of right building
Mhm.
area.
I think this is,
That's ultimately, we see it
There's no reason
happening
for the
in all
variance.
buildings, and they're all being used, and
Right.
they're all being used in various as of right configurations, and there's no reason that if you built an as of right building to its intended use, that would even be better than many of the other buildings, which they're converting the uses within the existing building stock into other as of right uses.
so let's just say that the as of right building has, it's an office building with a restaurant on the ground floor, right? That is just, this neighborhood needs people living in it.
But
It
that's
needs to
not,
be
but that's a
activated.
rezoning, Frederica, that's not a
We're-
variance. A variance is a one-off.
We're being offered an opportunity to increase the number of people who live in the neighborhood.
But that's not what the
I think
intent
we
of a
should-
variance is, that's not
Yes,
the
it
reason.
is to you, it's residential, that's the.
No, it's because there's some reason that you can't
Population.
accomplish a reasonable return on an as of right building.
What serves our purposes, right?
I mean, we know that there's gonna be a rezoning coming forward in this area. We know that these actions are coming. But at this point, that's not what it is. And a variance doesn't have any of the requirements of any thoughtfulness of actually adding housing. It's a one-off building. And nobody's saying, yeah, but that's not true. The number one that we heard in the Soho NoHo rezoning, one of the main areas that's a commercial, that's the number 3 commercial area in New York City. And no, but I'm just giving you an example. This is a retail
They're
area.
similar.
This is a retail magnet. This is also where there's desirability for small offices. We see that all throughout our community. All these
And we're gonna
strange
turn our
buildings.
backs on the potential to have residential.
Yeah, but that's
And
not,
residential.
that's why you have a rezoning.
But we don't know
And
what,
that's-
we
and
don't
that's
know
not
what the
anything anybody
boundaries
here is
are gonna be
opposed to.
when the ULURP comes.
No,
about what
but
they're
nobody
gonna be.
here,
But
we
it
can
is
ask for,
Or the timeline.
yeah, we can ask for a rezoning. That's not, and that's how you get proper development. But one-off small buildings with strange apartments that don't have any guidance on any of the area
Guidance to make.
through a rezoning, where you
What's
would,
gonna change?
there are all different elements that can change. There's all rezoning can end up with
That
all
building-
kinds of as of right.
In that building, what would change if it was rezoned? We wouldn't want it to be any higher and it can't be any wider.
Well, it may be allowed to be higher. Who knows?
We wouldn't want it any higher because that was one of our chief
point
complaints.
is in a rezoning, in that particular area, that is not inconceivable to include that in the rezoning. In fact, we've talked about it. And we've actually talked about the whole area being reconfigured, right? We've talked about, and one of the board has discussed quite a bit and spent a lot of time, is the reconfiguration of the streets, removing streets, having the streets go all the way out. And here we are talking about one small building, right? But
That doesn't adjust
but
any of
as-
those streets.
Yes, no, it does, right on it.
It's right
It's not on
there.
a corner.
It's right on the street.
Little
One
West
of the
Coast.
streets that we're talking
It's not
about.
on a corner.
What's that?
It's not on the corner where it could take advantage of a bigger lot if we access the 10th Avenue stuff there. I feel like we're just being difficult and
Yeah.
What's going,
I don't know why.
I'll say that I support
Always
the
been a
new.
bold method of getting what you want.
they're talking about that.
I do support this, I think, in its new modification, subject to the comments from Anita about just that front facade that's closer to the ground being more welcoming and integrating to that community in that area. And if we're not gonna say something to that end, then I would say we should just leave the resolution stand as is, since that covers
Yeah.
the position that we have in the past.
Yeah, and our position is in line with what we're supposed to comment on.
And what Anita said in connection with residential is that if you don't adjust that, then you have a very unwelcoming street. And I don't think he cares. I think he was just squeezing out the money, but this is very,
And I
they
think,
did adjust the building. I mean, most people don't do that. And now we're asking for more adjustment, which has to do with quality of life.
and I do want to ask Anita what's this letter? Oh, it's from the Marin, page, I guess it's page 1. They talk about the roof, and I'm a little confused about what's happening on the roof.
Talk about the roof.
Because I think that they
That's
might be able to get rid of that mechanical if they use the roof better. And there seem to be contradictory about what they're putting on the roof, how much space there is on the roof for mechanicals, and that they have to put it inside because it's not roof.
Don't they need the floor
You
because
can.
of the flood requirements?
You can have both. I mean, it's,
Yeah,
It does say mechanical roof, yeah.
you
yeah.
need to vent all those units.
But they're putting the boilers on the roof.
The boiler's on the second floor.
The boiler's on the second floor.
The boiler's on the second floor?
Electrical room is on the second floor. Those are probably just the,
Oh, because it cannot-
dissipate the heat, so.
Right. Principal mechanical equipment required for the operation of the building.
But they wouldn't put anything like a boiler or anything like that.
No,
That would be
Wouldn't be
inside the
outside.
building. Inside.
It says the 460 square feet of open roof area dedicated to open outdoor mechanical systems and condensers.
Well, maybe we should have green
Air
space.
condensers, HVAC.
No, we want to talk about green space whenever we can.
Yeah. Should recommend a green roof.
Might be
Okay, so,
a multi-use roof.
We don't want uses on.
Why did we not recommend a green space in the original resolution?
we never really, I don't think we really knew what was going on in the roof. We've gotten more.
Are you saying this level of detail is new and we didn't have it in the
Well, we didn't
original?
have- Yeah, I don't
The roof looked very different too.
Yeah, I don't know if we did. I mean, one thing we didn't have, they gave us a much better picture of the facade inside this time than they did before. They've
Yeah,
done,
but the roof is different. You're saying the roof is different.
well, no, Anita's saying, why didn't we recommend the green roof?
Right, and my question is, why didn't we do it in
I
our
know, we
original
didn't think of it.
resolution?
Some mechanical equipment is inevitable.
We were focused on the 5 findings, the green
I'm
roof
like
isn't
trying to find
necessarily
it.
part of the 5 findings. We're
Part of the roof that
tweaking.
isn't the mechanicals, could be.
Because you can't dissipate hot air necessarily.
Onto
the-
It's better.
yeah.
Music.
Yeah.
Some of that'll be louvers.
Well,
They don't show that either.
not all roofs.
So-
What is music on a roof? It's not a restaurant.
What do we want to say? We want to say,
Well,
let me wrap up. Let me just see what we're doing.
Give Aurora a lot of problems.
Frederica, let me just see what we're doing. So we're going
it's so
to,
tiny.
we're going to reiterate support for our original reso.
Well, okay.
And wait a minute, and let me finish my thought. And we're going to ask that the height of the first 3 floors be reduced at the base to approve the relationship to
The street.
decrease the overall height of the building and improve the relationship of the building.
No, we're not decreasing height. We're just.
No, we didn't, no, that wasn't
Okay,
part of our.
So to minimize the floors at the base, to improve the relationship of the building to the people around it, because the base represents,
Streets, I think I would put in the word streets.
okay, streets, good, good, good.
Isn't that considered a street wall?
Yeah,
So the height of the street wall is too high.
well, it's only a street wall if you step back above
They didn't step back.
it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But yes, it's almost
The
there.
connection to the street is lost by the height of the first
Yeah.
street floor.
And the use.
The base presents a blank face to the community.
Yeah.
And so say what you said again, please.
It negatively impacts neighborhood character.
That's good. Yeah,
Which is the point.
yeah, yeah.
But if we're going to reiterate our previous reso, then I would want to vote in favor of our new reso.
Want to vote in favor of,
Our new reso, because I feel that
What do you mean?
the real impediment to me, I wasn't comfortable with our reso in September, but I didn't vote against it.
You abstained?
Huh?
You abstained?
No, I mean, I
Voted
didn't
for.
want to vote against it.
Okay, okay.
I didn't vote against it because I felt that there were some real problems with the building, chief among them, the height.
Mhm.
Now they've solved the height problem, and I want a building, a residential building to go in there. So I have no longer any problems with voting yes for this.
With the rest.
but
of
were
it.
you
But
just
isn't- but
talking
isn't-
about the street wall? And then
Well, with these changes.
Oh, okay, sorry.
But it, just because we want something, that's not how it works. They have to meet the 5 findings at
BSA
BSA.
has to be
And
satisfied.
BSA had said,
They have to
I'm just
satisfy the
saying,
BSA.
this is, and, you know, this overarching desire for housing doesn't mean, we're not moving at all in the
6
right
units.
direction to get this changed yet, right? Just
6
the board's
units.
not moving in that direction. Nobody's asking for rezoning. Nobody's doing it.
6
So
units.
to sit here on one-off applications that aren't really following and really meeting anything isn't a great way to have city planning. If we want to change the housing, put forward a plan for rezoning. We've talked about that, but nobody's
But
doing
that's
it.
separate from this one.
Yeah, and it's a one-off, is you have to meet the findings in order for it to be permitted. And that's something that BSA obviously had some issues, and there are all these little problems with this. And so we also, you know, just by way of context, the board is hearing another, Landmarks application tomorrow night for a huge private members club just down the block from you. You know, converting a whole building, which, you know, they bought out loft tenants and loft tenants in. So, you know, I mean, that was a housing use that went away. You know, so these changes are happening, and there's economic development is also a priority for the city. I'm not saying housing isn't, but this is an area that's currently zoned for that, and there's reasonable uses for this that may not displace other uses if it's built as of right. You have to have new buildings with offices and commercial uses in them in order, because people don't want some of the old buildings, right? And that's just a reality. This is a abnormal lot. It's not really great for housing. And if you put in a single use tenant company in it, it may actually remove that burden from another building that is better suited to housing, bigger. So there's a lot of different moving parts, but the biggest thing is the 5 findings. And
I don't believe what you're saying. In terms of unique conditions, I bet that the person who wrote that regrets it, because what does unique mean? It means one of a kind. Okay, are there special conditions? Maybe. With respect to the next one, which is reasonable return, I feel that's up to the professionals at BSA. The person who does this has been doing it for years. They always come out with exactly the same numbers, right? That's beyond our capacity to really question. So I don't feel we can opine on that. The character of the neighborhood is what we're talking about,
I agree.
right?
Yes.
And the self-created hardship, I think the guy's personality is a self-created hardship.
And subjective. I mean, a lot of
And
that is.
subjective.
No, it's not subjective. I mean, there's
I think
evidence
No,
about it.
And then the
there's a
minimal
clear
variance is another one.
set of
where it's
documents.
Really in the wheelhouse of the BSA. So in terms of the thing that's most important to me, neighborhood character, I think it's fine.
with
we're
the
gonna,
notes from Anita.
we're just gonna comment on the first 3 floors.
That's the.
And the neighborhood character is commercial use.
I think we already discussed this last time.
Well, I'm
We
saying that
disagreed
that's-
about this, right?
There's housing all
No,
over
it isn't.
down the High Line, so.
And the future. What's the character of the neighborhood? Commercial, is it
But
residential?
it's people live at the moment.
No.
The neighborhood character.
Nobody lives in
existing-
anything.
No, and
There
this
is no
whole,
character, really.
there are,
That's not
And
true.
Not with a fence around.
People live,
Yeah.
if we
Not-
want people to live there.
And a
we
bar.
can also-
Neighborhood character is.
we have to
encourage that
rezone it
immediate-
and give them the
But we don't
service.
have to rezone. We can have.
Well,
variances.
you're new at this.
No, well,
We'll
maybe
teach
you have an old school view of
Can you,
this, you know?
are we having side conversations?
No, thank you, thank
Let's
you.
wrap it up.
But
I say we'll consider not
about
mentioning that.
I think we're
Oh,
close
wait
to
a minute,
done.
that's, but wait a minute.
All right,
That's something for the whole committee.
Yes.
Did you hear Frederica?
No, I didn't.
No, I didn't.
So please, let's not reiterate our previous objection, denial.
That's the board's position.
No, we don't have to keep, we don't have to perpetuate it if we decide. we
So
don't
let's take a
want to.
vote then. I think
They
we know what
made
we're going to be
changes
voting
and
on, right?
we're adjusting our opinion.
We're going to-
Our opinion is not limited to just the first 3 floors though. Right?
What else do we have changing right now, other than the first thing?
Nothing. We actually never.
So you're saying you don't want a resolution to reference, you're saying you don't want this new resolution to reference the September resolution.
Now I'm looking at the September.
Okay.
We did not issue a denial or a acceptance. We simply iterated the problems
Mhm,
and said, we request your agency take consistent action consistent with these positions.
mhm.
So it's not like we denied it,
Correct.
all right? So if you want to mention our previous positions, then
Right.
go ahead, but don't make it sound like nothing's changed, right?
But if that nothing's changed.
Well, things have
Building is shorter.
Change what?
I mean, do we want to comment on the building being shorter?
Well, I think that's very important. And if the BSA made that happen, I think that we should commend them for making it happen.
Do we have any public comments?
Just want to remind people what it
We have any-
used to look like. I mean, it really was a very different building.
Wait until you're called on.
Somebody else had their hand up. I gotta take this down.
Pete,
Right, so looking at this, I wasn't at the BSA meeting, but I wouldn't be surprised if one concern that the BSA has, whether they said it or not, is that this proposal is just butt ugly. And it sticks up next to the High Line in a way that is made worse by the height of the lower floors. The reason they pushed up those lower floors is to create visual connection to the High Line. There is no direct physical connection to the High Line because that just isn't allowed. But by pushing up those terraces, they've created a money situation for themselves. Which, okay, maybe that's okay, but maybe that gives you all the opportunity to say, oh, okay, we're not going to argue against that, but knock a couple floors off. I don't know, I'm not hearing that the committee is asking the BSA for anything. So if you want something out of this other than just opinions, I think you need to try to find something to bargain. Because that's the game here.
Pete, I want to point something out because, thank you for reminding me that the board received letters from the Parks Department, I believe, on behalf of the High Line. The High Line was complaining about the height of the building and its negative impact on the park.
did we receive that after our resolution or before our resolution?
After
After the
well, it was
resolution.
revealed at the BSA hearing.
So that was after our
Yeah, I mean, I don't know when they got it, but we heard about.
That doesn't surprise me, Katie, because visually it's just a horrible intrusion upon the High Line.
Yeah.
I don't know what can be done to rid us of that ugly intrusion, but I think that would be a goal I would be playing for.
I'd like to point out that the High Line didn't open its mouth when the EDC proposed a 600-foot high building on the corner. And
Well, the High Line's getting something.
Yeah. They're getting a whole new, like,
And they're getting, and they're doubling their space, so they're very selective about what they object to.
they're getting a whole section.
They're getting something,
Yeah.
they're getting
Right.
something out of that bargain.
So what are they gonna, what right do they have to complain about this little 25-foot thing?
Well, I actually think it's significant because the views in much of the High Line have all dissipated, right, through time as they've developed. And this is one last area, which is at a more of an open area. And that is, it's not right up, and I don't think that area historically has had buildings butting right there. And if you look at any of the historic photographs from tomorrow's landmarks presentation, you can see there's a lot more openness. And that is the nature of the meatpacking area historically in relation to the High Line. And it actually does go through some of the buildings there, which is unlike further north on the High Line. So I think that some of their commentary is relevant. I mean, and that's.
We're proposing to take those two empty lots and put housing on them, right? So they're not gonna be low for long. We're not gonna be offering a view for long.
I think that they're getting a lot from the other one.
The whole neighborhood is gonna be developed, all right? This is unfortunate that we're doing it piecemeal.
That's the problem with the variance.
And so there is the potential for unintended consequences, right? But this is a very small building.
It's a very tall building.
It's not that tall, and the standard hotel is almost 300 feet tall, like I think 297. So this is half of that, a little less than half.
On the block.
When you look at how tall the standard is, and you think about the 600-foot tall building that's going in, it makes you see how really tall that 600-foot thing is.
So can we figure out what the resolution says? I need help.
Yeah, so I mean, I think so on the resolution, I mean, you had to propose that we reiterate our position, which is pretty standard for resolutions that build upon or issued after.
Okay.
But what is our position? Because in our resolution, we have many different positions on site conditions, rate of return, neighborhood.
Well, it's on the 5
Why
points.
don't we just boil it down to neighborhood character?
Because our other concerns still stand.
Other committee members have raised the concerns. Katie went through and looked at it. Why wouldn't we comment on it? Just because it's a,
I mean, we still maintain that it's a self-created hardship. We still maintain that this is a narrow, this is not an exceptional lot.
That's right.
Right.
Donna sent me a list of
Pushback. Try not to give them everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
That's the game we play.
I mean, the point of our original resolution was that this variance does not meet the criteria for granting a variance.
But CB2 is in favor of housing, and so we see.
That's not what we said.
Can I make a motion to call the question for a vote?
thank you.
Okay.
What is the language of what we're gonna vote on?
might be that you vote against it. It might be that you vote against it, but I think that that's.
Yeah, I think that's, yeah. Reiterating.
So we're going to
support.
reiterate our position.
We didn't take a position like a denial.
We're going to reiterate our support for the original resolution. That's the language that I think covers it.
So let's not say position. We're saying
Right.
support.
Support, yes.
Okay.
You go for it or against it?
And then we're going to talk about the negative impact of the new version on the neighborhood character. We are going to request the reduction of the height of the first 3 floors, minimizing, the base, because that will improve the relationship to the streets around it. And because the base presents a blank face to the community. We're not recommending a green roof. That's it. It's short and sweet.
That's it?
If we're reiterating the support for the original resolution, I don't think we have to say.
Basically, it's these quality of life changes that what the wall, the 30 feet, 3 stories does.
Should we reiterate our support and say that should we put it in writing that we do not believe that the application meets the 5 criteria?
Right.
That was our original point.
And that's the point of the variance, doesn't mean.
Right, yeah, I mean, our original point was that we don't believe that the variance should be granted.
I don't know that I would support
And we need
Then you
real
don't have to
That
drama.
was the point, that was the
We
point.
really need much more drama for,
But we
to cut them
appreciate
apart.
the DSA having reduced the height of the building. And we are looking forward to adding residential in that.
But the BSA didn't reduce the height. They came back with a new plan.
At the DSA's request, as I understand.
Understood, but it is
Yeah, but-
not, the BSA did not make that action. That was up to the applicant or they discontinue it, right? But the point is that they're amending a plan. It's the BSA is not telling them what to do. They're saying these are the things that we don't
BSA
like, go back and work on it. So.
Okay, Katie, continue.
Okay, we did. This was a denial. I didn't notice it because I was expecting it to be at the end.
So we still so number 1, we reiterate our support for the original resolution.
It has not changed.
And we do not believe the applicant we still do not believe the applicant has met the 5 findings. And we want to comment, and we think maybe this is what we do. We want to comment further on neighborhood character.
Okay.
As to the first 3 floors. And I think I've gone over that pretty, and you improved it. And then that's, I don't think we don't have, whether we just support this, the approval is of these points. And so I guess the vote is if you agree to approve.
We're just adding on to,
Just commenting on the changes they made.
right,
Saying we want some more changes, basically. And we're
Right.
not.
Yeah.
what about Pete's comment about us asking for more reduction in height? That's something our,
Well, I mean, the dilemma with that
Agenda
is, there's more residential. So if we're
It
advocating,
doesn't make the 5 findings, then what are we bargaining and asking them to come down to?
well, then it would just be a 5-story building, yeah.
I mean,
The number of buildings that meet all 5 must be very slim.
I am surrounded by variances. A lot of buildings need to buy, don't worry.
They get around it and Mel specializes in it. So this
I
is like,
haven't met this findings that the
I mean,
DSA has given them.
I don't want to say it in a public meeting, but I can tell you.
Let us talk about a few buildings
After this is over.
nearby.
And
80 Clarkson Street, between Washington and West. 112 residences. $7 million to $80 million for each residence. 140 Jane, even closer. Penthouse, $87.5 million sale, unbuilt. 2 mansion-sized townhouses are listed on Perry Street, between Washington and West. They're gonna go for $67 and $65 million each. I mean, I think that he could have 5 residential floors and make a ton of money. The prices in the neighborhood are sky high.
Or it could be a single family,
Well,
family.
those are
saying 5 floors, they can make enough money. But these are tiny, you're talking about mansions. These are.
I'm just saying, there's a lot of, you know,
I mean, they could make it a one-family home too.
Yeah.
And
They
they-
make
which
more
they
money,
did-
actually.
and they didn't, that's something that we asked them to do, and they did not price that out. They did not price out.
An accountant can make anything.
Exactly.
They can make the
I'm
numbers
just
work.
telling you the prices around. I'm just telling you the prices.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure that we don't want to comment on the economic analysis because that was revised. Is there any comment that we have for
I
that?
think we should, because they always cook those numbers.
I mean, you brought up several points. I'm just, it's
Yeah,
just,
yeah. I mean, I'm,
How much is enough? I mean,
yeah,
there's a lot of gray areas here.
right.
I know.
I mean, it sort of is a way interesting that they're making these little apartments instead of mansions, because in the market rate world, these are actually at the low end.
The mansions would command the higher value,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like 142 Green.
Exactly.
I know. I mean,
Katie earlier looked at the comparables
for the restaurant.
and said that they were not that comparable. And attacking the basis of, it would be like a reply brief in a report. I think that if you want to say something about the economic analysis, challenging their assumption based on your particular knowledge of the area that the BSA is not going to have, might be something that's.
Yeah, I know,
That's fine,
if you get it by the numbers and turn the numbers against, their own numbers against them, because they're not usually, they're never accurate. For instance, during one of the, that building on Houston Street near Mercer and Green, they're using comparables for loft buildings on Avenue D. But they do, I mean, they cook.
Pretty far.
He said, that's all cooked papers, why do this?
I mean,
This move along, really.
This is one of the most preeminent areas for eating and drinking, that a smaller space actually brings the highest level people, not the lowest, because they're given an opportunity in a smaller space to showcase something in that little space. It's not like it's undesirable.
Economic.
Because, we were fortunate to have so many restaurant groups that operate in our community that own so many places that are looking for all kinds of spaces right now. And these are the types of spaces that are very desirable for them, that they can have within a short distance of the other properties that they operate. So, I mean, that's why it is important to discuss, and it is real. I mean, we have, this neighborhood has started so many mini empires. Major food groups started out of here. You have, Rita and Jody run a whole empire. You have,
In small
countless
spaces,
others,
which they keep putting up.
yeah, and these small spaces in these areas, very desirable. Tomorrow night is a Landmarks, another preeminent, London, social clubs coming to New York and sought out this area, spending a tremendous amount of money to convert the area. I mean, to talk like these spaces are like, this little, strange little space out of the way. It's just not real.
Yeah, I think my only concern there is like, how much would that move the needle in terms of the reasonable rate of return? Like, are we talking about $100,000, $500,000, $1 million? Because we can nitpick and say these are bad comps, but is that actually going to make that much of a difference?
I would say that I saw a restaurant recently that was paying $40,000 a month rent in one of the SLA applications. Is that what we saw? I mean, that's a heck of a.
And in a brand new built to suit building, that can really is built out for that.
Customized and built out, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's not unusual that's a super desirable.
I think we're missing an opportunity if we do not comment on the economic analysis, considering that that's a major part of what's been changed.
Things not wearing any clothes.
But where's our expertise?
They're not.
Well, there's the understanding of the neighborhood.
I agree with
The
something
company
that
that
you
does
don't
the analysis.
understand, but I can't understand challenging something that you don't understand.
But that's not
The company, Frederica, the company that does the analysis for years has been giving out bogus analysis, so let's
Right.
But
question it.
irrespective of that, we do
I think
know.
we experience with
They
this.
know the neighborhood.
We do
Yeah,
know the
exactly.
neighborhood and what new businesses are opening.
That's what we're bringing to BSA.
Frederica, all of the new restaurants apply to us. We actually do have a very high level of expertise in what is opening, in the spaces they're opening in, old buildings, new buildings.
I'm questioning the economic analysis.
Yeah, but
Okay,
that's
not
a
just the comps.
part
The comps
of-
is a small part of it because there's the construction costs that we don't know anything about. I don't know anything about.
it is a.
You question
part
the
of
comps and
portion.
worry about the construction costs after the fact.
Yeah, the
I
construction.
think that Katie's just quick review, it's like, why would you even use those as a comparison?
I know.
It's, didn't make any sense. And if that's one little tip of the iceberg, just looking up addresses and you find nothing, that's remotely reasonable as a comp, I think that lends itself to opening the door to question that, because it's.
Right.
But we started out by saying, this is a spa, you know, this is not a restaurant, this is a, you know, a dispensary, instead of saying, this is the most expensive restaurant in New York, this is the second, you know, and that's what's in the 3-block area, and that would give you a different picture, which to us is the reality. I mean, that's what we see what's coming up, and it's only doubling and doubling and doubling and doubling. And these are like odd to present that to us.
Exactly.
The comps don't make sense.
And
They're as low as they could come up with.
And we have multiple buildings in this immediate area that the entire buildings on multiple floors are all eating and drinking uses. You know, on top of that, all stories, which is an as of right use, you know.
You know what, something else on the SLA, and Carter, correct, you back me up. When someone comes to us on West 14th Street, comes to the SLA, between Hudson and the river, and they say we're gonna have a noisy club and it's gonna be terrible, and you know, it's gonna be open till 4 o'clock in the morning, and we say, oh my God, we don't like 4 o'clock in the morning, but there's no one living around there to complain. So we're going to say that this is an entertainment area and they can have a noisy something on 14th Street, but now we're gonna have people on Little West 12th Street complaining. So we have been using the fact. And in this memo, Sheldon Lobel's company points out, because still think of the father, not the son, points out that the whole thing about residential, the city's database that they depend on, that Zach proved that the database is totally misleading.
Right.
You know, it blew that up. But this is what we did with what is that 2-story place? It's right by the stairs of the High Line. We said, oh, this is
Golf.
Yeah, this would be crazy, but no one's gonna complain about the noise. This is one place we can put it there. Yeah, there's no one living nearby, so we can put something like that there. And they make a lot of money and they have people coming and going. There's a lot of activity on the street. The people in the hotel like to go there, but if someone lived a couple blocks away, we'd have a lot of complaints.
And just to your point, the commercial property owners also have come before the board regularly and saying that they'd like to continue that because they think that it's important for the community's development. And that's why we see the private members club open. I mean, there are 4 now in that area, I think.
Right.
You know, with this new one, there's 4, and these are all within 5 years.
And what neighborhood character do they bring?
And they're operating within the manufacturing buildings, and they're allowable as of right use.
So can we vote on?
Well, do we have a finalized what we're gonna say about the economic analysis? I think once we do that, we can go.
We're gonna question the restaurant comparables, and I can do that.
Simply.
And what about well, is it the economic analysis of what's come out about the fact that there's nobody living there? Or is that go more into
That's
neighborhood
neighborhood
character?
isn't it?
Yeah,
You wanna swing that back up to neighborhood character? and
Yeah, I
put
think so.
another bullet point under
Yeah.
neighborhood character?
yeah. No residential actually exists. Do we want to say that this area, some of the commercial activity in this area is enhanced by the fact that there are no residents nearby, or, you know? Well, I'm not taking from that.
Fewer complaints from the neighbors that they can't, the new neighbors that they can't sleep in.
It allows certain types of
Of the
businesses.
clubs making, coming out at 4 o'clock.
Yeah,
It allows certain
okay.
types of businesses that wouldn't be, you wouldn't find in a residential district, right?
Yeah. Okay.
There's no nightclubs in the West, like, technically, and so
Well, there's the
Can
bar,
I get
right?
back, say something
Where we have
about,
our
can I say
Christmas
something
party.
about
The brass monkey.
why we should have left the economic analysis? Because I was just, you brought it up when we were talking. The Soho Alliance, we were getting so many of these variances in the 1990s and the early, up to about 2005.
Right.
And we were just, and it was all, we would sue about 3 or 4 times, and a couple of times it was LaBelle, saying that the economic analysis was bogus. And we did it 3 or 4 times, and they got so tired, the city, of fighting the variance on behalf of people like LaBelle and his clients, that they instituted the 74-712, where you can build on empty lots, similar to this.
So how does,
The point is that the economic analysis is the crux of the matter.
Good point.
It's a couple of articles, several articles, Article 78.
of course, the only way you can fight it.
Okay, so does that cover everything we want to say on this resolution?
I just think when this goes to full board, it's gonna get a lot of flack and
Or
pushback.
what?
Which part?
The part of reiterating our denial, and I think really, for me, the crux of it is Anita's comments. I think the rest of it, we're just nitpicking and trying to pick at things to try to deny this.
We're allowed to reiterate for a CB2 position.
Yeah.
But if we change our
Once-
mind,
Once a position is taken, everyone's supporting that position.
right, but if things have changed, are we still in support of denying it?
You should.
Only
Well, if the
28
committee
people
votes.
voted in favor. Okay.
All right.
Say that again?
28 people voted in favor.
And how many voted against?
1 in
Period.
opposition and 4.
One in
abstained.
opposition, 28-1. Okay.
It was overwhelming.
But it was barely
Different
a quorum,
application, yeah.
barely a quorum.
Well, no, because we don't have that many, oh, well, maybe.
And it's
give
still
it in.
28-1.
Yeah.
Quorum or not.
Right.
You know, it's an odd one because, as we said, the tiny apartments, not in an area where they're building $30 million apartments. So that in itself is unusual. It's an odd developer, it's a quirky history. I think he's so out of it in some ways. Anita's point about the 30s story, he might not have even realized it because we don't know who his developer is. So they might make this adjustment.
In the economic analysis, should we talk about the lack of analysis of a single family home, which would be a residential use?
That's what we see.
That's what the
That's-
surprise, this could be
Not that we
two
want it,
apartments,
that's the
two
reality.
apartments.
Yeah.
This could be 2 apartments and the most expensive restaurant in New York if you wanted to do that.
Yeah, that's right.
They did say they were willing to, into the land agreements, constitute that the units wouldn't be consolidated at the previous meeting. They did say that.
I still just. There's something about, when you have the as of right uses that draws people to take away the pressure from other properties, right? And that's where an office building, that's a boutique office building, isn't gonna go somewhere else if they wanna be in this area and displace another building that's more suitable for housing. And we've seen that regularly. People want the commercial uses in certain districts. And we saw that it was one of the big failures, right, with the rezoning in Soho and NoHo, is that we got a monster tall commercial office building instead of housing, even with all the incentivization. And
And look
Chobani's
at
still not
Hudson
even there
Square,
yet.
and look at Hudson Square, the
Which
same
came
thing.
earlier, yeah.
We complained,
We debating still, I'm curious.
we complained in Hudson Square that all the buildings we thought were going to be residential turned office. And now we have an opportunity, small, but still an opportunity to have residential. And we want to push office.
No, we're not pushing them away, we're just trying to solve certain, we're going in circles.
Hudson,
But that's actually, that's a silly argument. And the reason that it's silly is because what we've said about the rezonings,
I
they
haven't
didn't
called
get.
anything that you do
No, but
silly.
what we've said is, yes, you have. And what we,
Good.
what we,
I'm glad I did that.
what we've
I was
said
gonna
is that
say-
they got,
I was
that
gonna
they
say
got the
probably.
balance, is that we got the balance wrong. And in rezonings, the incentivization, because that's what zoning is, right? Is getting people, incentivizing them to take particular action. The variance is not in that. but the incentivization was imbalanced in the rezoning in Hudson Square. And that's why we keep asking them to do an analysis of it. That's the same thing we saw in Long Island City. They got it wrong there, and they got all residential and not commercial, which was the intent of that rezoning. Downtown Brooklyn, same thing. They got all residential and not commercial. So the incentivization is the issue, and the variance is outside of that. And it's not just about housing or not. And we also see that happening right now, is that new commercial development is something that people do want in the city because there's plenty of money. Just look at what happened today. You know, financial markets keep going up despite a lot of uncertainty because there's confidence in what's happening, and all those businesses need somewhere to be too.
Okay, so should I include the analysis of the single family home? The lack of it? Okay, good. Okay, let's take a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, opposed? Okay, I've got it. Okay, that's right. There are 9 people to vote tonight, correct? Okay,
And
good.
we have a quorum?
Definitely we have one. We have one. And that's an important question to ask, because there were a lot of that. And we're going to create a list of questions, which will be circulated. And I think we should, I was thinking, reflecting on these questions, we should send them to the borough president. I think this is something that Sean alluded to, because maybe the borough president can answer some of the questions about 142 Green Street. And maybe even we invite them to come and talk about it at the meeting, if you know, particularly if Green Street doesn't show up.
Down to landmarks, they should come, or at least one of these staffers should come here and listen to it.
Oh,
I think it's important because we have so many outliers in our community, you know, consistently, so many of these things, and we're told it never happens, and it's
and half of
happened quite a few times, because they may need to tweak what the legislation,
yes.
you know, or through new legislation, so that it's not so easy, because again, it seems something they thought would be an anomaly seems to be a little bit more of a
That is happening.
and that goes against.
And did you see what's happening on West 13th Street?
I was just gonna say under new business that the DOB refused to accept the challenge
For,
the
5 West 13th?
5 West 13th Street, they're going to.
yeah, we're going to,
They did, I couldn't hear you.
5 West 13th Street.
Yeah, what
had a
happened?
challenge to the city of Yes rules. And that it was in conformance with city of Yes.
But now there's a conversation with CPC that might happen. Because, you know, DOB is saying, okay, but
Based on CPC.
based on maybe a misreading of CPC. So we've got to get that straightened out, because in that instance, we'd get a smaller, a shorter building with more housing, which would be good.
And the other thing that in the business, it's really old business, is I wondered if anybody knew what's going on with the community benefit space on the west side, the one that Aurora gave us when we got Gansevoort.
You know, I had even asked Valerie a number of months ago when it came up, and she assured me that she was going to follow up on it. And she also assured me, I said she needed to follow up with David, because it came to him, and he might have even been, you know, on the Zoom then. And I thought it's been in my mind to bring it up again as well.
We have to write a reso and send it to Valerie.
No, I don't think so. No, I know I know that she's spoken to David. So
She might need help.
I think they're working on it. I just don't think that they.
Why am I making a big deal? Because we fought so hard to get those 2 spaces. And if we don't demonstrate that it's important, the next developer will.
It's 3 spaces. Oh, there are 3. The other one got converted to money, if you recall, to $1 million for Greenwich House.
Okay, fine, that was not it.
No, but you're right, it was a great success. It was a
Okay.
great success for
But
us.
I don't think a developer will listen to us because we've ever demonstrated that we really need it.
Also, we should, if you don't have money, at least you should take advantage of the benefits
But
of a community.
the challenge of that space, and we heard that with the other space, is that you need a fairly well-funded organization in order to occupy that space. The other space, you needed a fairly well-funded organization just to run it, even though it's free. And that's one of the biggest challenges, and it's always been a challenge. And what is the market rate? And do we have in our community, because within the requirements that we had built into the resos, there had to be somebody that already exists in our community. And so it's not as straightforward as
It's not free.
to fill that
It's not a
space.
reason not to try.
No, but when we were looking at the other place, there were organizations in mind.
Well, and they formed a
and it was real.
consortium, which was
Yeah.
the only way actually they could guarantee us it could survive.
Yeah, and we heard about the struggles of the
Well, I don't know
funding.
that
And I have
it's easy
something
to find the right.
No,
Yes,
it was hard for them to struggle to find the funding to hire the staff to run the space.
I have a request for next month. I think this is part of the comment I made a few months ago at full board. Given projects like 142 Green, a lot of what we see through the landmarks process, this private members club that's being considered, we have this broader pattern of conversions and rip and replace projects that really reduce the net housing stock that we have. And so I'd like to bring a resolution next month, prepare it in a draft form. I'd like for us to go through it. I'll share it in advance, on net neutral housing construction. The idea there being, given the housing emergency that we're in, what can city, state officials do to promote construction that retains the housing that we have and not eliminates it?
Isn't that an enormous?
That's like
Yeah, that's a-
anti-capitalism.
I think
The revolution.
I don't think we can have a resolution without a discussion.
We'll discuss.
Well, I think that one of those things, right, and the challenges in the city, it's just like zoning, right? You need to create an incentivization or disincentivization process where those hurdles are a little harder to get to. I don't have any answers on that, right? Because if somebody owns multiple properties next to each other, and you say, no, you can't do this, it doesn't, there's no disincentivization right now through the structure.
Right.
That's what we need to think
And
about.
that's what I'd like to
And-
discuss.
But just come up with, I think it warrants a lot more just discussion, because I never hear anything about that.
No, and I'm not saying, I just want to talk about it more than anything.
Yeah, come to the meeting with a
Well,
resolution.
and we all agree with that. It's also,
We don't have to pass it either. We can talk about it.
You can create a talking point.
Right.
That'll guide our conversation forward.
But I think it's not appropriate to bring a resolution.
Because we have that in our, the West Village in the village are really interesting places looking at that, because originally the housing stock were single family homes with large occupancies through extended families and whatever support staff.
Right.
And what happened through time is that is a change in the area. You had places that were broken up into multiple units and apartments, and then there's been a history of recombining them over the last couple of decades, right? And
The mega condos.
but it's hard to have that discussion because that's
Or
an
mega
evolution. That's an evolution of the existing building stock, right? And the question becomes an incentivization of splitting up or bringing it back together, or what are you doing? Because you can't just say it's bringing it back and disincentivize that,
Original.
right? Or if there's an incentivization or whatever it is, and it may be, nobody talks about like the family sizes. That's actually been a huge change in, now we see that there's very little housing for families, right? That's affordable because it's all broken down. There's a lot of different issues, and I think you have to kind of grapple with all those first before putting forward some ideas.
We're talking
We'll
points on that.
consider it for.
it also
future
shows
discussion.
that trickle down doesn't work.
An agenda item for us to
It
talk
doesn't
about
work.
is basically
Just
what.
get bigger and bigger units.
Well, I'm going to recommend some reading to you all, which shocked me. It's an article in the real estate section on Sunday about Kingston, New York.
I saw that, yeah.
Well, guess who's one of the biggest landowners on that street? Neil Bender of our Gottlieb
Oh,
Association.
yeah, they have a lot of property up there.
Yeah, so he's gonna
They
bet
have a
there,
farm up there.
Tivoli, Hermann's
Yes.
in Tivoli, but I didn't realize he also owned like blocks in Kingston.
It's changed so much in the past.
I've been
Since
hearing
COVID.
that all over, all the quaint little, like Provincetown, someone was just telling me it's all corporate now. You know, it's really removing the character, the individual
I mean,
character.
Provincetown did an interesting thing about 10 or 15 years ago where, in order to keep people in place, they said that people who lived in houses could sell a floor, you know, so they could remain, yeah, to afford to live in the other floor. That was really interesting to get more,
It would sell for.
so that they split the house, so that they could
okay.
afford to keep their own house.
Oh,
That was
so they make it a
really-
multifamily.
Yeah, so they could have more year-round residents, more permanent residences. Now, all those houses are returning, just like here, single-family homes.
And are so expensive, you can't afford them.
I know.
Big, big.
This is in
Yeah.
Kingston?
That's Provincetown,
Oh, Provincetown,
Massachusetts.
okay.
Provincetown.
But Kingston
Yeah,
is where our
Yeah, the one
local, our local
I-
large.
Like-
It's the same thing. I mean,
Gay
it's,
clubs.
So do we have a motion?
Yes, I'm going to present a motion to adjourn our meeting.
Second.
Yeah.
Second? Okay,
Thank
great.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good discussion.
For attending.
Eugene.